Chapter 8. Shopping for Underwear. I woke with only the memory of arms around me, but I was more rested than I can remember. If there was no man in my bed, there was no cat either. A musky male smell lingered in the air. Remembering all the things that had been said last night, my happiness was tinged with a bit of queasiness. It was one thing to say I would try to believe he was my cat, particularly staring into those lovely green eyes, and another to do it. Sighing, I slipped quietly out of bed and into the bathroom, then searched discreetly as I could all the places where Shadow was fond of hiding. They were all empty. Just then I heard the whistle of the tea kettle in the kitchen. Automatically I started to the door, but the whistle stopped. As I opened the kitchen door, he was pouring boiling water into my favorite teapot. "Good morning," the man of my dreams said, without looking up. "Breakfast is on the table." I went into the dining room and found two places laid out neatly, not across from each other, but kitty corner. The small TV I keep in the armoire was turned on to one of the morning shows. "I made us some tea and toast," he said, "and I put out an orange for you." We sat down, and he poured the steaming tea into 2 mugs. "Thank you," I said politely. "This is very nice." I used the remote control to turn up the volume on the TV until it was loud enough that talk would be uncomfortable. TV can be such a gift. Soon I realized that while I was watching Matt Lauer, Samwise was watching me. "Is there a problem?" I asked. He shrugged. "I was watching how you peel the orange. It looks like fun." I couldn't help but smile. In fact, I do enjoy peeling my orange in the morning. Feeling my fingernails slide underneath. Oh, this is not a description that I need. This is not a description I need in my life. Feeling my fingernails slide underneath the pith adds to the pleasure of that burst of cool flavor in my mouth. Sometimes I try to peel the rind in one piece or without breaking the pith. This morning, I was carelessly pulling off chunk after chunk. "You should try it," I said. "You should try eating the orange, too. Now that you're human, you'll be needing vitamin C, among other things. A diet of cat food won't do it." The man of my dreams blushed and turned away, and I knew that an empty can was somewhere in the kitchen, explaining why he barely nibbled at the toast. After burying his nose in the steam that rose from his mug, however, he decided that he liked tea. "Are you going to work this morning?" he said. I looked at him. He had taken off the jacket of his Armani suit and tie, but the shirt was a bit rumpled. His scent was not unpleasant, but stronger than usual, and I saw the shadow of a beard along his cheeks. "No," I replied. "I think we have a few more important things to do today." I leaned across the table. "Open your mouth," I said firmly. He did. It smelled like a can of ocean whitefish. "Tuna breath," I said, using the generic term. "You may have noticed that I brush my teeth in the morning. You'll be needing to do that too. And take a shower." His eyes narrowed. "A shower is when you stand in the tub behind the curtain and water comes out of the wall." "Yes," I said. "You stand under the water and scrub your body with soap. I have some that smells nice." I somehow doubt that. I somehow think that she smells gross. I saw the revulsion on his face. "You do this every day?" I smiled. "You know I do, if you've been watching." "I always watch. I like the way you look, all pink and shiny. Oh, God." I stood up. "Then you know how it's done. Now it's your turn. I'll give your pants and jacket a pressing while you shower. I suppose you'll want to use the same underwear until we can buy you some." "Underwear?" He looked sincerely befuddled. "The things you wear, here sometimes and always there," I said, pointing delicately as I could to the chest and crotch. He seemed puzzled. "They didn't show on TV. I don't think I have any. I see. Clearly, we have some serious shopping to do. All the more reason to take a shower. No! Yes, I said. If you want to live in this house as a man. I felt him behind me as I walked into the bedroom. I brought the complimentary one-size-fits-all terry robe I'd gotten from a spa where Amelia and I rested up. Take your clothes off in here, I said. I'll turn the shower on so the water gets hot. He stood directly in front of me, and for the first time his expression included just a bit of anger. Cats don't take showers, he said carefully, fixing his eyes on mine. I don't like water. I realize that this new body is a bit large to lick clean, but there must be another way. Maybe you could brush me. Sorry, I said, and slipped past him out the door. I heard quite a bit of grumbling inside, and I couldn't help but recall that Shadow as a cat had talked to himself when he was distressed about something. I turned on the shower. As I was leaving shampoo and citrus shower soap in the basket, I felt him behind me. This is for your hair, I said. This goes on a sponge to clean the rest of you. There's a fresh towel on the rack. I think that's it. He looked into the shower with great foreboding. Will you come in with me? He said softly. No, I said, although it was tempting. Then I won't do it. It's too scary. His face looked determined. By then we were standing very close, both of us in robes, nothing under his, and very little under mine. They always say movie people are smaller when you see them in real life, but the actor, assuming this body was really just like his, was quite tall, and with broad shoulders. The temptation was almost too much to resist, but then I thought of another way. I poked my fingers into his chest, letting it slip between the robe's lapels to touch skin. It deserved some consolation prize, and tapped it there. Let's not be coy, I began. We both know that Shadow has peeked through the curtains into the shower more than once. Only out of concern for your safety, he grumbled. I took a lapel in each hand. Before I'm in the tub, when I'm not even in the bathroom yet, after I'm finished and getting dressed, I distinctly remembered an occasion that matched each example. In fact, I joked that he was willing to jump in. I could save $50 every 6 months having him shampooed by professionals. Let's face it, sir, I said. You may be afraid of water, but you're also awfully curious about the shower. He sniffed. It's something like being brushed, actually. I think you might like it. I clapped him at the shoulders, like a sergeant bucking up the courage of a new recruit, and slipped past him to the door. Just before I shut it behind me, I added the coup de grace. You want to look your best, I said. We're going downtown today. Gross. We? Yes, you and me. I got busy setting up the ironing board and pressing his clothes, but my attention was focused on the bathroom. For a few minutes, it was quiet, except for the sound of water. I hope he wouldn't wait until the water went cold to try it out. Then there was a yelp, followed by another sound, loud but pleasantly surprised. Are you sure this is water? He hollered out to me. It feels good. I'm glad, I hollered back. Don't forget to wash. I don't know exactly what he did in there, but the water ran so long he could have gotten clean even without soap. Eventually, the water turned off and the door opened. Robe first, I warned. A moment later, he emerged, tying the belt around him, beaming from ear to ear, his hair dripping onto his shoulders. It is something like brushing, he said. What's next? I sat him on the toilet seat and toweled his hair. We would need a proper shave. He would need a proper shave, too. But I decided we could wait until I could buy a proper razor. God knows how much blood I might draw trying to shave him myself with pink foam and the little shavers I bought 10 for $1.79. I certainly drew enough of my own. I gave him his pressed clothes and offered him the privacy of my room to get dressed. With little hot water left, I took the quickest of showers. In no time at all, we were in the car, headed to Union Square. "What is this downtown where we're going?" he asked. "A place where people work and shop and eat out." I debated about what shopping environment to place him in: an enclosed mall, an open mall, or the teeming, multi-ethnic, multi-class environment of downtown San Francisco. Impulsively, I had decided to take him to the most dangerous environment. "Are we going to work and shop and eat out?" "I think we'll skip the work. We have quite a bit of shopping to do." If indeed he was a cat who had not ventured from my apartment for 5 years or more, you might expect him to be overwhelmed by the assault of sight and sounds. He seemed quite comfortable. "So many buildings," he said, as we turned onto Bush for a quick route into downtown. "Do people live in all of them?" "Most," I said. "And cats, too." I saw him nod out of the corner of my eye. "Yes, I can feel them. There are many." Oh my God. Following my habit, we parked in the Sutter Stockton garage. There's a cul-de-sac by the high-speed elevators where I nearly always find a space, and this morning was no exception. Before we got out, there was one thing to settle. "We're going out now," I said, "among other people, so I'm going to call you Samwise. I don't intend to hurt you. It's just that Shadow is not a man's name, and people would wonder if I call you that." He seemed to accept the explanation, but the truth was I still thought of him as Sam, even if my heart was ready to believe his story. He hesitated getting out of the car, and when he did, his hand reached almost instantly for mine and held it firmly. "You're sure it's safe for me to be out?" he said. "I'm sure." Nevertheless, he held my hand all the way down 6 floors in the elevator, and out the door, and up to the corner of Sutter and Stockton, where an unfortunate stoplight sparked our first crisis of the day, second if you count the shower. A girl of about 14 saw him and instantly started squealing. Before I realized what was happening, she had grabbed her mother by the arm and come up to us. "You're the guy from Ocean's 11!" she said. "I got the DVD. I watch it all the time." Sam looked at me and back to her, his expression blank. "My name is—" he began. "No," I said, wondering what our chances would be if we dove into Sutter against the light. "He sort of looks like that actor, but—" I know," the kid said, winking at him. "All I want is an autograph." From somewhere she pulled out one of those handbills people are always handing you downtown, and her mother, looking quite enchanted herself, provided the pen. Sam looked at me again, and then an understanding expression replaced his puzzlement. The pen moved rapidly over the paper. The scrawl could have said anything, but she said, "Thank you." And as the light turned, I said, "Thank heavens," pulling Sam after me. It wasn't over. Our exchange had drawn the attention of others in the crowd gathered at the corner, and I saw a number of people eyeing us curiously. In desperation, I glanced around. Just down the street to the left was a big-name men's clothier, a store imposing enough to chill the curiosity of most tourists and fans. The shadowy scented coolness of the store turned out to be a safe haven from the throng. There was even a screen set a few feet in front of the door, keeping the eyes of those who couldn't pay from watching those who could. "Sir," a sleek young man in his late 20s said, approaching us with an extended hand, "may I get you some coffee?" Like he'd been expecting us. "We have tea in the morning," Sam said, with an attitude befitting a celebrity. "Of course," the salesman said. "Let me get you a cup." But unfortunately he had no plans to leave us on that errand, merely waving to an older man and pronouncing the single word, "Tea." "Thank you," Sam said. And so the salesman began again. "How can we help you today?" The salesman looked expectantly at Sam, who turned helplessly to me. and out of my mouth slipped a single word: underwear. With all that Sam needed, shirts, sweater, shoes, why did that pop out? I blushed. Of course, the salesman said, as his assistant rushed up with tea in an attractive, hand-painted Italian mug that would have cost more than $20 even in Macy's basement. What style does he prefer? I blushed even deeper. Perhaps he could try some different styles, I said. Lately he's been in the mood for a change. Actually, Sam said, bending his head to the salesman and speaking so quietly I could not have heard, I haven't been wearing underwear, but the lady seems to think I should. The man of my dreams returned the salesman understanding smile. Our personal linens and so on are near the dressing rooms, he said, taking Sam's arm. Will you join us? He asked me. No, I shook my head, then smiled. I'll just browse. I'll leave it up to you two to decide. They turned away, and I sighed with relief. The older man offered me a chair, but I was too restless to sit. Instead, I looked around. Along the back, a row of suits hung along a polished wooden rod, and around the corner from that, sports jackets and trousers. One armoire contained shirts in various styles, and another, sweaters and t-shirts, lots to choose from in Sam's favorite colors, black and shades of gray. I saw a sweater that I thought would particularly suit him and decided to splurge. Considered a splurge. My fingers found a price tag tucked inside a sleeve. I almost spilled my tea. $1,200. Now I began to pace. If he was who he said he was, this newly minted man knew nothing about money, and certainly had none of his own. Underwear shouldn't be too pricey, but time passed. I heard their voices approaching. The salesman was carrying not two small garments, but two large boxes. Leaving my empty cup beside the sweater, I met them at a little antique desk that apparently concealed what served the store for a cash register. Hi, Sam said, with that wonderful, delighted smile of his. It feels good, he said with a nod to the boxes. I'll wear it all the time. The salesman was making little scratches with a fountain pen on a piece of parchment paper. How old is this store? I wondered if the price of the stationery went into the bill. Perhaps we should just take a few pair, I said, so he can try them. Dear lady, the salesman said, taking my hand and kissing it. I'm just now setting up an account for the gentleman. He explained in the dressing room that he had no money with him, and he didn't want you to be charged. We'll run the account during his stay in San Francisco and send the bill to his manager. I gasped. It's really no problem. We do it for visiting celebrities all the time. I looked at Sam, who gave me a satisfied smile. The only reason we came in here was because he'd been recognized. Oh dear, the salesman said. You know, people in the city are very sophisticated about that sort of thing, but the square is always full of tourists. Perhaps. Sunglasses, I said. We could get some across the street. Please let us provide them, the salesman said. And may I suggest a hat? The combination puts off most people. They just can't be sure with that little bit of head and face showing. I swallowed hard. But in for a penny. And in fact, when he was wearing sunglasses and the sort of cap laborers wore in English movies, I wouldn't have recognized him either. The salesman and his assistant came to the door to wave us goodbye, and we left without producing so much as a signature, much less a credit card. We also left without a bag. The store insisted on delivering the packages to my home, free of charge. Part of me looked longingly at the garage, just across the street, wanting nothing more than to get into the car, go home, and shut the door. It occurred to me that if we refused to accept the package of underwear, we might still avoid doing jail time somewhere down the line. But another part was exhilarated by the adventure. Just like George Peppard and Audrey Hepburn in Breakfast at Tiffany's, we would enjoy our moment of high life and crime, Well, misdemeanors, I suppose. Perhaps I had always been a good little girl, and at some level it was thrilling to be naughty in a way that was probably only require paying for some underwear at some unspecified future date. The second part won because Sam, too, was excited and eager to explore. He took my hand again, and we strolled through the downtown district, drawn by whatever caught my companion's curiosity. If something particularly pleased him, he would put his arm around me and squeeze. We looked at books and jewelry and dishes and buildings, mostly just enjoying the day and the sunshine and being on the street together. People looked at us as we passed, and I imagined that it had nothing to do with Sam's celebrity look-alike, that we were just such an attractive couple. I suppose I imagined that Sam's magic had transformed me into Audrey Hepburn. Curious about the posters in a record store window, Sam pulled me by the hand across the street and into a realty. Our reflections in the window were stunning. The man of my dreams tall and lean and elegant. Me, elegant in my own way, but short and well-rounded like the Polish side of the family. I know what that translates to. You cannot hide that. In the sunlight, my hair was streaked with more silver than gold. Ugh. Unfortunately, when I feel threatened, I get hungry.
How about lunch? I know a place nearby, I said, away from plate glass and mirrors.